Introduce yourself. Got to lit a fire. You have all the reason to begin again. Under this desire, do you hear the call? Coiling the wire. You have all the reason to begin again. Under this desire, I have found the catalyst, and I have found the catalyst in you. Understand yourself. This is not a test. You have all the reason to begin again. Honor this request. Do you wait for love? Put your acquiesce. You have all the reason to begin again. Honor this request. I have found the catalyst, and I have found
If Tuesdays aren't quite enough for you, Wednesdays top it off. St. Ricketts, the Catalyst, www.saintricketts.com. I love this song. I love this band. And if you don't know, they are this is the Wednesday night theme song as we come back with a brand new 110% live Wednesday night episode of the Yo Show. Whew. Great night last night. Great night tonight. Jeff the Shark Perini hanging out with you. Let's face it. I'm going to be honest. You're not running around outside. Unless you're very daring. It's kind of brutal out there right now. So settle in. Grab a drink. Flip us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, the whole 9 yards, and check out the Yo Show. This is our Wednesday night edition. Similar to Tuesday. A little different flavor. No Jewel Tatey on Wednesdays. At the moment, your summer might clear up. We don't know yet. But anyway, we are here back live. And the reason why I took on a second show is because we just have so many great guests who want to get on this program. And whether, it looks like it explodes right away or after a week or whatever, we get hundreds of views, thousands sometimes. We got a great fan base. And why not? We do it great here. We do it real. We do it legit. And we come here for our artist. Wow. Say that 5 times fast. And tonight we got a great one. A local Philly star, a guy that I love watching his videos. I see him all over the place. Super talented. I got to get out to check him out one night live. And he's awesome. He's going to be with us around 8:30 tonight. Mr. Calico Sparx. Ladies and gentlemen, is our very special guest. That's a rock star right there. Look at that guy. Legit. Over the last couple days, I butchered his name a little bit. To me it looked like Calico. So yesterday I said, dude, I need to know how to say it. I don't want to butcher it. And he said, it's like the Calico Cat. So, of course, I looked it up and bingo. A little sip to undry me. It is dry out. It is brutal out. So we are expecting, if all goes well, a special guest co-host around 8-ish, 8:15-ish, 8:30-ish, if it goes down. If it goes down, it's a neat little surprise for our guest. If not, there will be other nights. There will always be other nights, no doubt about it. So we get excited for that. We definitely do. We just love our guests. We love the people we get on here. And last week was really great as well. We do have a little snag here. Hang on 1 second. It says the link doesn't seem to be working, so we're going to try the link again real quickly. Bear with us 1 moment. Happens here sometimes on live. So while we do that, last week we did not make it to the Wednesday night program. We had a little snag, if you will. Well, I'm there twice. So what? remove that one. Sorry about that. Remove that one. And yeah, last week we had a little snag. Got stuck at work late, so we apologize to Album Music. We'll get them back here real soon. It's one of our great PR people, Beatrice Kimmel. It's one of her great acts, and we'll get them back on here real soon. Okay, let's try this again. Try to resend it, see if our guest co-host is having a problem getting in. Let's see if this works for them. See if we can get them in. Meanwhile, like I said, I'll sit here and talk your ear off like I always do. Even when there's a co-host on, I still talk everybody's ear off. It's just my thing. JD Wolf is in the house. Yo, my brother, indeed. JD, I thank you very much for joining on to the Firepower group and, of course, joining the Strange Culture groups. What we do here, we like to bring people music. JD's a big music fan. We appreciate it, We appreciate you coming out and checking us out on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights here on the Yo Show. A great one tonight as well, a local Philly artist, Calico Sparx, around 8:30. I almost blundered there. Our guest co-host is trying to make their way in. There's something wrong with the link this evening for some reason. Just our luck. You know, every time I line up something great, something bizarre goes on. But we're working at it. We'll hang in tight and see what happens in a few short moments here on the program. I will say this. When I learned last night, if you're using a MacBook, it seems to have a snag for some unknown reason. So hopefully it works out for everybody involved. So just stick with us, and we're going to chat it up. So if you've been living under a rock, and I certainly haven't because I was dead in the middle of this all day, we got some wildfires. And they're in Canada and supposedly in upstate Pennsylvania. It seems to be not compatible. I don't know why. Timothy Dial last night tried to get on MacBook and wasn't working for him. And tonight, like I said, our guest co-host is saying there's a problem getting in. So let's see what happens. Yeah, these wildfires, this was no joke. And I seen people posting it last night on social media, like, what's this smoke? What's this problem? What's the issue? And I'm like, what's everybody talking about? And then I went out last night after the show, and I'm like, it is insane. Absolutely insane. I can imagine how it is up there, JD, being closer to Canada. But here, it is sweeping in. It is taking over. And, oh, shoot. What in the heck is going on here? So we got a little snag with our StreamYard. Let's try this again. It's not letting our guest get in. Again, I always say the magic of live sometimes, people, it can be grueling and extremely challenging. So we're going to try this again real quick. I don't know. I just don't get it sometimes. We try our best. We use all this technology, and like I said, sometimes we get those snags. Jewel Tady's in the house. Jewel, you are Tuesday night bestie, the amazing Miss Jewel Tady. Okay, so our special guest co-host has made it, and for you who may know, and if you're watching out there, if you're watching the recording and you know why this is special, I did not let the guest tonight know that this guest co-host was happening. And I'm very excited for it because these two have become, well, this person has been one of my favorite people for a long, long time. And now our guest tonight just combines to make this awesome unit of people. So let's bring her out tonight. Let's bring out the amazing co-host. She's been on the show once before. She did a Lookout Local thing for us when we were promoting local business. It is Bridget Gotcha. Bridget, good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You made it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry.
And you know what? It's the magic of live. I always say that. You never know what's going to happen when you go live. And sometimes the link gets, like last night, our guest messaged me at like 7:58. He's like, trying to get on my MacBook. It won't let me access it.
I ended up just copying it to my browser, and that worked, so I'm here.
Whatever it takes. And thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you.
Our loyal fans are saying good evening. And Bridget is, absolutely wonderful. And of course, Jewel, Jewel, she's out there watching as well. She does the Tuesday nights. So we had Bridget on. We had you on. God, it had to be at least a year ago at this point, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And used to do the Lookout Local segment where local business people would come on and talk about their business. And since then, Miss, you have exploded. And I want you to kind of tell people what you got going on since with your business. Obviously, this great picture behind you is part of it. Tell us a little something what you got going on.
So I run Chaos Piercing. I've been an independent piercer. I've worked as an independent contractor for different tattoo studios in the area for almost 17 years. And I specialize in fixing things that didn't turn out quite right and working with small children, things like that. And, so recently I was given the opportunity, or I should say the opportunity kind of fell in my lap to open on my own. So I'm moving into my own studio. We open up on Friday.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to congratulate you first and foremost. And, I'm going to hit it real quick. People always talk about like social media and the bad that it does and the kind of weirdos you meet. But a long time ago, I found you on like a friend of a friend's page. We shared some common things. We would chat once in a while. Then we became Facebook friends and we would follow. And I followed you through your best of times and some of your tougher times. And I got to really say, you're making it. And I am so happy for you because you totally deserve it. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So we're really excited though. It's a huge opportunity. It's been 17 years coming. So
that's amazing. I've been through many of hair colors for you as well.
yeah. Yeah. So this one's kind of newer. I've done this before though. I had the pink for a while, the hot pink for about a year and a half. Yeah.
So you also, as we jump into, and I put this little banner on here, Meet Bridget. So you've done modeling and you've done piercing. You're a tattoo person as well. You're huge in the Philly music scene. You follow the Philly music scene everywhere, and we love you for that. Just tell us a little something else about yourself. What's been new since we last saw you here?
Well, as you mentioned, I met my wonderful fiance about a year ago, and he became fast friends with a lot of my friends in the local music scene, and and I've worked in the industry previously, and not as a musician, but music promoting and soundboards and things like that. And it's been really interesting to watch him grow as a musician, just from being around all these people that have all this experience. And the local music scene is so supportive and loving and wonderful. And it's this community and this network, and everybody's just absolutely ready to help each other, support each other, so it's been, a really interesting past year.
That's awesome. And like I said, we watch it, and I know I watch it, and excuse me, I watch you guys progress. And I always say that to community. It's not a competition. People think like, oh, this Philly band, and even the bars, as you may know. You play this bar one night, you can't play within 20 miles of that bar the next night.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not that way. Everybody really loves and supports each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always somebody who's like, hey, this is what you need to do, and this is where you need to be. And especially for somebody that's new in the local music scene, to really have those people that are ready to reach out and be like, this is how you do it. This is how you get your name out there and make the money. And
It's tough. And I learned that making the money has become my last stop in this. And I don't even care. Like, I have given up on money because when you see the hoops you got to jump through for YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and all that to make a buck, I'd rather not. I'd rather go to shows. I'd rather do this show. I go to those Future Star shows a lot at Sweeney's, and I'd like to just hit the local scenes, pay $10 and check out bands instead of trying to pay $500 a ticket down at the stadiums.
exactly. And then it comes down to you do it because you love it. You go to these places, and sometimes it's hit or miss. You're not always going to see the best band out there, but you're still supporting the scene, supporting the local bars and restaurants when you're going out and seeing local music too. But it's more importantly, you're supporting people's dreams. And it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a heck of a lot of work, and it's nonstop work, and even like I said, self-promotion, social media. And people ask me like, how do you do it? you'll know. I see your name a lot out there pushing your own product. You have to. And if you can't sell yourself, you can't sell anything. I'm sorry.
It's the truth, and but like also too. I mean, with any industry, um, it's I see so many people that go away from being humble, and then they stop being a likable person, and they stop being approachable. And I don't think anybody really wants that. Like in any industry, whether it's mine or whether you're a musician or whatever you do, people want to be able to approach you and relate to you and have some kind of common ground.
Sure, I agree with that. And I mentioned a few names. I'll mention yours. I'll mention Jewel on Tuesday nights and some of the people I've had on. It's still social media. People still want to get weird. I don't know why. Like, you're out there trying to promote and work and do a job. And even, like I said, even if there's no money involved, or even if it's like your blood, sweat, and tears, which is with you, don't be weird.
Yeah, true.
It's not that hard. It really
No,
is.
no, it's not. But I mean, and it's funny because especially when you're a female in a male-dominated industry like I am, you get some strange stuff, especially
Yeah,
your inboxes and walking through the door sometimes.
I'm sure. So, I might have asked you before, and I got to ask you again because I was thinking about it on the ride home, kind of chuckling to myself. What is the weirdest piercing request you have gotten? Well, either or, in person or on Messenger. Because I'm sure on Messenger you get even weirder requests than you do in person.
Yeah, I mean, I if I'm TMI and I need to stop talking, tell me. So
Not here,
I
never here.
this was like years ago when I was working down in Peace. So this is a long time ago. I had somebody reach out because they had reached out to a few local shops and they were looking for a rectal piercing, which is a fetish piercing. They're not meant to last long term. They're meant for fun. Um,
I
you
don't
know,
see the fun.
yeah. So they called like multiple other shops and they're like, well, call her because if anybody can do it, she can. And yeah, that was probably my most unusual request. But I mean, I'll get all ends of things. Like I constantly have people asking me, um, if I offer apprenticeships, which I don't. Um, I feel like taking the time to train somebody else through what I do, it takes away from what I'm able to offer to my clients because I am so busy. You know.
That makes sense.
Um, but I mean, I do get, then I'll get like the random messages where it's like, well, I was thinking of getting a Prince Albert piercing.
Oh,
And if I send you a picture, can you tell me if it would work for me? And it's like, you're just looking for
yeah.
permission.
Right, exactly. I mean, come on. I mean, clever, A for effort, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, and I can imagine being in that field. I'm sure you, like I said, you've seen and heard it all, and
Hmm.
it's kind of a shame. Um, we do thank you, though. So this was like an idea I came up with. Our guest tonight, I usually announce the guest before he comes on. Anyway, it's an awesome local musician. He's just great, and he means a lot to you as well. It's Calico Sparx, and he's going to be here around 8:30 tonight. And when I've been asking you a lot of times to guest co-host because I love your personality, I like your look, I just love having you on, and you're always like, "Oh God, tonight's a bad night. Tonight's a bad night."
It's always, and it always seems to just not line up where it's like, he'll have, like he's playing, because he'll play a lot of Wednesday nights,
Right.
or, we'll have like tickets to something and it's like, I just can't.
So, like I said, when I came up with the idea of having him on, and you said a while back he'd love to come on, and I, kind of realigned the Wednesday nights where I did the guest co-host thing and bringing in more guests, and when I asked him to be on, he was very receptive. And I said, you know what? Let's do something neat. Let's get a very special guest co-host. And I didn't tell him what was going to happen, and he might be surprised, or unless he's already tuned in, he'll see you here. But and you even said it was a cute idea. I like the idea. I think it's
I
neat
know, I love
having.
I love it. It was great. You reached out and I was like, yes, because it actually works out because, I kept my schedule clear because I am revamping this whole space. So, you know,
Yeah. So I assume 110%. The pressure is you're feeling the pressure. You know how to do the job. Now you got to do the business end. How you feeling?
well, my degree is in business. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So
Awesome.
I actually used to do business models for like national companies, things like that. So it's kind of one of those things like I've done it for so many people over the years and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to finally do it for myself, you know.
Yeah, and I'm like, again, happy for you because I know that it's your passion, and to finally embrace your own place. It's yours. It's your key to your door, and you have your hours, etc. What's the excitement like? Are you bubbling or?
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. Like I think the biggest thing like right now is like getting like we came into the space and it needed a lot of TLC. So we're kind of
Sure.
getting into that, and it's starting to sink in because it's like, okay, now the toilet's been replaced and the sterile room's been built out and the carpeting that was like 20 years old was pulled up, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so I mean, I think that I'm probably going to get to that excited stage, like, tomorrow. Like I said, we open on Friday. So,
That really is amazing. And what I got to do is, if I know somebody, my wife or anybody who needs a piercing, I got to come up there because you have great neighbors too. The
oh, yeah,
breweries and the eateries. I mean, it
yeah,
looks awesome.
yeah. We're right next to Donna Fe Bakery. And they do like the little cakes and cookies, and Latin Corner's right down at the end. They're authentic Puerto Rican food. There's actually a tattoo shop next door to me. It's Royal Horse Tattoo. They are amazing. Justin's done a few tattoos for me, and absolutely beautiful work. And then Calico's going to be working here with me as well. We had picked up the idea of bringing in permanent jewelry, which is super popular right now.
Yeah.
It's all over TikTok, and especially with summer, like you can go swimming, don't have to worry about losing your jewelry. And he, had a background as an HVAC tech for years. So just experience with using like the arc welders and really tiny things. He's just really, really built for it. So and like it's nice to just be able to work together, even though
Sure.
his schedule is really hectic. Like I know, like we had spoken like tonight. He's actually going to be at his friend's studio because he had rehearsal right before this.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah, and but he loves doing it. So
That's awesome. And I mean, the demand behind everything he does. I mean, HVAC, forget it. That's like the biggest field on earth. And he's also a rock star. And now he's doing the permanent jewelry. Like, this guy's got it, man.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
And a cool guy. And every person who knows of him comes across some things you read about him. Everybody just says how wonderful he is, and we love that as well. We root for people like him. We root for people like you, definitely. And I'm just really excited for you to get it kicked off.
Yeah, me too.
So off subject a little bit. I started talking about it. What the hell is going on outside? Have you ever seen anything like this at all?
So I remember when we had the California wildfires,
Yeah,
and it was just mostly like the moon was kind of funny colors, and you would smell a little smoke. This is completely insane. Like I'm like looking out my window, and like it's the big bay storefront windows,
yeah,
and it is literally just this complete cloud. My front lights came on way earlier than they should have.
sure.
You know, it's insane.
I was at work and I work at a car dealership in the service end, and they got the big garage doors. And a couple of people like the fresh air, and they leave the doors open. And next thing you know, the whole place is just this internal cloud, and everybody's coughing. You had to shut the doors. And to look at it, it's creepy. Like I got home tonight, my wife made dinner, I'm eating dinner, and she's like, "How dreary!" Like she had great news at work today, things are going great, and she's like, "How dreary!" But I kind of look past that dreariness. I'm like, you know what? Nah, you got to put a smile on through it all.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how bad it is. It's this bad here. I can't even imagine what it's like actually like in Quebec and,
Right.
people that are right in the thick of it. But,
And
like realizing that there is actually a potential threat for that here now because it's been so dry. And, there's the risk of like the dry lightning where, it happens when there's no thunderstorm. And that
yeah,
can as easily make that happen here.
and the gifs and the memes and the posts about it, people are already on a tangent, having fun with it. So, I mean, God forbid, after we survive, if we survive COVID, we're just going to keep surviving.
Yeah. I mean, we all got to go sometime.
Right. Give us your worst.
Yeah. Right.
Our guest is backstage. He gave a little smirk. So I don't know if he expected to see you here or not. I still think it's great. But let's bring him out. I didn't bring questions to you because I know you know what to ask and what to talk about. But I made a few for my own that I kind of run on a little preemptive script like I sent you earlier. But our guest is just a super cool local musician, and apparently everything. He's the master of everything. He plays guitar, he sings, he's HVAC, he does body jewelry, and he also has great taste in women. So let's bring him out here. Our very special guest, Mr. Calico Sparx, ladies and gentlemen. What's up?
Hey Jeff, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man, and I want to thank you for allowing me to borrow Bridget. You know, when you agreed to come on the show, I said Wednesday nights we do guest co-hosts. I'm like, I got a great idea. And I ask her a lot. She was like, I'm busy. It's always a bad time, etc. So she's like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm free. He's going to be coming on right into the studio. So I love it, man. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much for having me on. This is such an honor. I really don't know what to say. I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
We appreciate that a lot. It really means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Bridget, and I've been telling her how for years through social media, just following her and seeing the great things she's done. And then she meets you, and I'm like, man, how perfect to have two great people just making things happen. So congratulations, first of all, on each other, your engagement, the whole 9 yards. I love it. I get happy for happy people. And secondly, thanks for coming on the show, man. It means a lot. It really does. Like, it's great to reach out to people.
No, it's my pleasure, man. Seriously.
Well, I mean, you're a rock star. I'm just some goofball behind a microphone. So tell us about it. Tell us about beginning in music. What got you started in music, and how old were you? Because I marvel at these people to start so young. Me, I'm my age. I still can't pick up an instrument and even begin to get anything done.
All right. So listen, we're gonna go way back here. We're gonna go
Okay,
way.
I like it.
So this all started when I was like, yay tall. My mom and dad had this old Casio keyboard, and it had this rock and roll preset on it.
I remember that. I had the little white one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it had this rock and roll preset on it. And I used to just play that and grab a broom and jam around my kitchen like I was the biggest rock star in the world. And then years later, I saw Leonard and Skinner in concert. That was my first show ever. I caught a pick from Gary Rosington that day. And I was like, this right here, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. Just that from there.
Sealed. Amazing. I assume your family's very supportive. I mean, we got this great comment already. So proud of my son and Bridget. And that's key. So I assume your family and friends were very supportive from the get-go?
So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing but the most heartfelt and warm support from everybody in my life. And it's just so awesome to be able to do what I want to do, to live my dreams and be a musician. I mean, I never wanted anything else.
I don't blame you. It's got to be the coolest job in the world. Now, what we're going to do is and what I always do is we're going to take turns. So I ask a question or two, and then the co-host will ask a question. So Bridget's going to hit you with hard stuff.
Oh.
Let it rip. Let's get deep here.
So you're actually playing this weekend, last minute gig. You're filling in.
I am. So
You
I
got that
am
right there, real quick.
filling in as the vocalist for the Batshit Crazy Band. My buddy Carl hit me up and he was like, hey, we need a substitute for this weekend. Would you mind? And I was, nope, don't mind at all. So I'm actually in their studio right now. Just got done rehearsal. And now I'm here.
We appreciate that. And it is cool. I did get the banner. I posted it. I don't want to keep it in your face the whole time, but it is Morton's 125th anniversary celebration.
Absolutely.
June 10th,
Yeah,
8 to
it's their
6.
community day.
And it just looks so awesome. Live music, Chris Nelson, Rebecca Florentino, tied for third. The Afterthoughts, the Batshit Crazy Band, featuring Calico Sparx, Jesse Lowy, and the Eternal Rhythm Band. And it looks like all this great stuff, man. Music and fun, food, kids' activities, antique cars, a beer garden. It's just amazing. This is this Saturday, 8 to 6. A festival like this, a show like this, how amped do you get to get in front of a big crowd and
There
sing?
is nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I don't know how to describe this to you with words. So it's, the first time I played a big stage was with a good friend of mine who had invited me onto his show as a guest. And, I looked out and there had to be like 1,000 people there.
Wow.
And I just, it's a different feeling when it's like a small intimate karaoke bar. You get nervous with the karaoke, and then you get up in front of all of those faces that are looking at you and waiting for you to knock their socks off. And it's just, it's euphoria. I can't explain it with any other word. That's exactly what it is for me.
That's a great word. And I got to tell you, the co-host over here, I usually don't try to matchmake, but she's gushing and smiling and blushing and all that. I think you got a little something going on there. So hit him with more, Bridget. Don't be afraid to jump in and dig deep in this guy.
I don't know what to ask that I don't already know, but
yeah, I was gonna say, like, what don't you know about me at this point?
But yeah, I mean, but going forward with that, the friend that had asked you to play at the larger show, it was at the Oval in Philly, in front of the giant Ferris wheel.
Yes, I
yeah.
saw that.
Largest
I saw that
beer
video.
garden in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and they become like pretty regular. They play together acoustic pretty regularly when he's in town. So
when he's in town, do we know this guy well?
Brian Quinn.
Absolutely. I love me some Brian Quinn. He was on the show a long time ago before we did video. We just did audio. And I think he had might have been just as he got on board with Candlebox. And I've always loved Brian, and I love the guys from Foster Child and all them. And,
you just had Danny and Bobby and Carla on recently, too.
Yeah, we did. Love them, too. And it definitely a question that I had. Well, we'll get back to your early stuff later. Right now, let's get to that Philly music scene, because we mentioned Bobby and Brian Quinn and like Sidearm and all these great bands. Who are some of your favorites? What are some of your favorite places to play around here? Talk to us a little bit about your experience in the Philly and the PA music scene, because we talk about it being community over competition. What do you think?
So, gotta be my top two places. Bridgeport Rib House and the Whip Pain Tavern.
Awesome.
I love the Whip Pain Tavern's open mic. Good old Matt Perkins. He's been running that for like 20 years. And the caliber of musicians that you get at that open mic is astounding. Astounding. I've never seen it anywhere else, except maybe the Bridgeport Rib House.
Yeah.
The talent that you get in and out of Montgomery County is just ridiculous. And I'm so honored and privileged to be able to share stages and learn from and share that wealth with such talent. I mean, really, like, there's just so much to be grateful for there. Like, I
agree. And when we first decided many years back, when I started this whole podcast thing, it was a New York guy, me and a New York guy, and everything was New York, New York. I'm like, I can't stand this. So when he decided to walk away, I'm like, I need somebody Philly. I need somebody in the music. And I wanted a female to do the nice male-female thing. And I brought in Jewel, who does Tuesday Nights with me. And she's like, I want to go to all the local places and meet all the local artists and do music. And we do artists and we do actresses and authors and all that, but nothing beats musicians. Nothing beats the local scene. And I feel that for you, man. And we welcome you. We welcome everybody that steps on any stage, no matter how big or small, here in Pennsylvania.
And look, man, if you can step on a stage in front of a crowd of people, you can belt your heart out, you're a rock star in my book. I mean, there's no religion like rock and roll in my opinion. If you can do it, bless you. Bless you.
I say the same
thing. It takes a lot of guts to do that sort of thing,
I always said it, and previous guests was like rock star. Like on Facebook, I comment rock star, and they're like, nah. You said you write a song, you play a song, you get on stage. If it's one person in that audience and you get on stage and play, you're a goddamn rock star. I'm sorry.
I agree. 100%.
I think it's kind of cool to mention too, like the Whip Pain Tavern open mics, like you mentioned. All these musicians come together. There's no rehearsal, and it's a full band. So basically, you're going and like, hey, you know this song, you know this song, you know this song, and everybody manages just to kind of pull it off. And they've never played it together before. They've never rehearsed it. They're just all these guys that just like, hey, we can make this work. And sometimes it doesn't, but usually
I gotta tell you, it's just like one of the most crapshoot things you can do. You know, you get all this talent on one stage and one room, okay, and then you got like 5, 6, 7 guys that pick a song, right, and then you just go after it. And sometimes it works out. Most times it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. And most times it sounds phenomenal. Other times, okay, we missed a verse or two, and then we just decided to quit the song because that didn't go right. But at the end of the day, like she said, like we don't have any rehearsals,
Right.
and as long as everybody's clapping, man, we had a good time.
I agree. And for me, like, I'll give you the viewpoint of a guy like me who loves music and loves watching people perform. If I got a beer in my hand and a nice little something to eat, you can miss all the notes you want. I'm still going to stand up, scream, yell, clap. Man, I mean, that's me, man. I'm going to love it. So, Bridget, when you watch him on stage, do you still get the little butterflies and the jitters and excitement? And
You know what? I get excitement just like if I haven't seen him today and I know I'm coming home. You know, I mean, it's you get so used to being around somebody, and you're just eager to stay with them. You know.
I love that answer. It's a great answer. And I want to talk now because talk about being in the audience. Bridgeport Rib House is, if you've never been there and you're in the area, if you're watching live or if you watch recorded later and you've never been to the Bridgeport Rib House, get there because the food is intense. The wings, the ribs, the food knocks your sock off. And the crowd is close to the band. Like the crowd just hovers and they're that close. But in between sets, it's like you're with family. It's like you walk into your friends. They can't wait to get near you and talk to you and chat about it, man. So that is definitely two major places you name right there, the Bridgeport and, of course, the Whip Pain Tavern. Awesome. And so what brought you here? I noticed you're originally from Louisiana. And what brought you all the way to PA from Louisiana?
So I was actually born in Baltimore.
Oh, wow. You made your way.
I grew up in Anacoca, Louisiana. And then when I was in my early teens, my family moved up here. My dad was military.
Thank you for that, by the way.
My family lived in Maryland. I mean, my grandparents have lived there for as long as I can remember. So we moved back up to Maryland eventually. And, several years ago, I had just ventured my way into Philadelphia, fell in love with the city, fell in love with the rock and roll scene there. I would peruse the local bars, looking at all the original rock bands. I loved it so much. I didn't want to leave. So I tell you what, man, I did my damnedest to get up to Philadelphia as soon as I possibly could.
Wow.
So, I lived in Philly for a while, moved back down to Maryland for a little bit. And then I met Bridget and things were going really well. And we started dating. And I moved back up to Pennsylvania, and here I am now.
You're ours forever. I got news for you. That goes for both of you. Like, if you ever decide, hey, let's move back to Maryland, no, you're not allowed to do it. You're PA for life. But speaking of PA for life, you kind of are now because Bridget, of course, has this big new venture, and you're going to be a part of it as well. Talk to us a little bit about the chaos piercing and what you're going to be doing with body jewelry, etc. Because apparently you've got tons of talents. So tell us a little something about that.
So I'm actually excited to get on this topic. All right. So chaos piercing, she started it. What was it? 15 years ago, 16 years ago?
Almost 17.
Almost 17 years ago. That's been her brand for the past 17 years. And frankly, got a large enough clientele that she's branching out on her own as a piercer, which is next to, and forgive me if I'm wrong because I don't know that world like you do, which, for me, that's next to unheard of. But so we're opening up Chaos Piercings together, and I'll be offering permanent jewelry services.
Very cool.
Now with permanent jewelry, it's a new thing that's started going around. I believe it started in New York City, if I'm not mistaken. So basically what it is, you get your gold, your silver, your gold filled bracelets, or anklets or necklaces or toe rings or even rings. And they're claspless. They're welded together with the intention of not removing them.
Wow.
So it is a pulse arc welder that you use to do the jewelry. Now, I do have experience with TIG welding. It's just on a much, much, much smaller scale. I do the weld through a microscope, essentially.
Wow. So you have this larger than life rock star personality, and then you come back to this little microscope of tedious work. It's amazing, dude. I marvel at people that have so many skills and talents. And it was one of the things, like I said, way back through social media when you watch somebody like Bridget. Like, she did like modeling stuff and the piercings and cool tattoos and all that. I'm like, man, this is a cool person. And I get into that. I get into people that love so many things and are passionate about so many things. Like you and your music. You play guitar, you sing, your songwriting, all that. What is is there a dream in music that you really want to grasp at? Another instrument, an album, a certain. What is it? What is like your big
Music
dream?
is ultimately what I want to give my life to. So I've gotten back on the train of writing original music. I took a break from that for a while just to kind of like learn some cover songs to be able to jump on a microphone with one of my friends and play with them at one of their shows and everything like that. But I have, as of, the past month and a half, gotten back on writing original music. I'm very, very happy with how far it's come. I've got at least 2 or 3 EPs written.
Wow.
At this point. I'll be excited to get to work on them here, I believe, starting in July.
That's awesome. And I know a place that'll love to have you back on to play some of it and promote it. I'll give you a hint. You're here now.
It'd be my pleasure. Seriously.
So, Bridget, did you ever talk about maybe going on stage sometime, trying your hand on a microphone, some of that nature?
I have absolutely no musical talent. I get people for a living, and I'm good with
No comment. That's the best non-answer I've ever seen. My wife's like, do I sing good? And I'm always like, yeah. And I kind of walk out of the room. But like I said, like the two of you is like you feed off each other because you both have amazing skills in different fields. And that's very cool. And like I said, Bridget, you've always been a music fan. You've worked around the music business and you follow it. Was it like a dream come true to meet such a talented musician? And you can be honest, you can gush about it or, whatever. He's there, he's smiling.
So it's actually funny because when I had first met him, he needed to kind of come out of his shell a lot, and he would this kind of really just hidden raw talent, and it's like, hey, let me go introduce you to some of my friends and different musicians that he's met and had the opportunity to perform with, and it's just watching him grow and just come into his own and his own confidence. He's gone up with Sidearm and sang with them, and Pawn Shop Roses, and yeah.
I love Pawn Shop Roses.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that like should have been way bigger than they ever were.
Absolutely. One of the tightest bands I've ever seen live.
Terrific. They graced us here about a month ago, and again, the music, and this is why I love this, and not to change the subject, but this is why I love doing this. Not only do you get the great music, but you get the great people, and I always say we've never missed. I've done between Tuesdays and Wednesdays over 300 shows. We have never missed with the personality of these artists. Like, yeah, everybody's a great artist. Man, you could be a great artist. Never miss with the people, and to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes back to how we were talking before, how there's like sometimes there's just like the personality where the person's just not approachable or likable. And, there's not as much of a place for that, and, it's been interesting to see, like, I mean, he has, one of our friends that he plays with from time to time reached out. He's going to be, playing down in Philly in a couple weeks. Yes.
So, June 15th, I'm going to be a special guest vocalist with Mike Greer and company. They're going to be doing an all-star lineup at Xfinity Live, which is going to be the pre-show for Deadco at Citizens Bank Park.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That is cool stuff. Xfinity Live is like the shot in the town right now, and like they get bands play outside, inside, or whatever, and there's always awesome art that goes on there. So my schedule gets so busy trying to see all these bands. But I got to squeeze it in, dude. I got to come out and see you live and experience it. Mike, Mike's a great name as well. Another great Philly name. There's so many great fun names.
Good friend of mine. Great guy. One of the nicest guys I know.
That's very cool. And like I always talked about, and when you ask the local promoters, like, yeah, it's impossible because they all got different promoters. But just doing this massive Philly show with like the LeCompts and Bobby and Danny Beisel and guys like you and Pawn Shop Roses, just getting in one giant room and just like having this awesome festival, like a Philly festival, man. I'm all about that.
I'm so for that.
Would definitely love to make that happen. Let's get a dream scenario. Like I said, you played with some of the favorites you love here. Give us a dream scenario, live or dead. A band you always wanted to jump on stage with and just...
Motorhead. Easy.
Motorhead. Wow, that was easy.
Easy. Motorhead. Favorite band in the world. Motorhead.
That's some tough competition, though. I mean, Lemmy's God, right?
I know.
Did you ever think, and of course not to do them disjustice, especially there being like one of your favorite bands, did you ever think, hey, let me send out some audio and maybe give it a shot?
What do you mean?
Like send Motorhead a little piece, like, hey, this is me. What do you think? Maybe take Lemmy's place. Would you ever dare?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the only guy from Motorhead remaining is Mickey D, and now he's with the Scorpions. So I don't know that that's going to be a possibility.
Well, Pantera made it work somehow, so. Well, I don't know if they made it work. They're doing something. I don't know how well it's working, but they're doing something. But it's, and to me again, like I said, we talk a lot about the Philly scene, and do you branch out? Do you look to Jersey? I know you said you've done some New York stuff. Do you look to make your way out, or is this kind of like the place you want to be for your music?
So, I mean, right now I've just been so busy with everything on the home front. I eventually plan on, making my way as far and wide as I possibly can with music, and just, eventually once I get an original band together and start putting out the new songs and everything like that, if fortune strikes me the way I'd like it to, do tours and everything like that. That's my dream. That's my dream. I want to be a musician. I want to be a rock star. I want to be everything that a rock and roller aspires to be.
And also too, the ability to branch out like locally is incredible, because like even talking about like just the local cover bands, you have your guys like Sidearm that do a lot of like your more mainstream rock and roll, and then like our friend Jim's band Cover Fire. Jim's the singer for Power Theory, and they're Germany.
They're playing a festival in Germany, and
Wow.
It's this year.
Yeah, and they're gonna be at New Jersey Metal Fest and things like that. And it's like, but he has a cover band as well. And like, whenever, he has the opportunity to get up and sing with them, it's more of your harder rock and roll and just different sounds. So, I mean, just the different people and the different genres and the different, people that have welcomed him on stage with their bands has been, incredible.
That's awesome. Like I said, part of that community where you all start to kind of know each other. And like I said, even looking at pictures And like your guys' pictures, like I know that face and I know that face, and you start to tag, I know that name and that name, and that's the cool thing because everybody kind of has the same appreciation for one another in the scene. And your name is definitely getting just so big in this area. Like a lot of people say, like last night when I announced you're coming on, a few people in our audience like I'm on his Facebook, I follow him, I think he's awesome. So you're making the name, dude. And that's what it's all about.
I'm grateful for everybody that pays attention.
That's key. That's the word right there, paying attention. And yeah, a lot of people can listen in the background or hear it and be like, all right, that was cool, and move on. Paying attention is key. And again, that's where we press here. And I say it here like the guest comes on, I kiss their ass. And people are like, what? I'm like, I kiss their ass because I like what they do. So I'm gonna just praise what they do to hold. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have you on. Like that's pretty much how it works here. Even like this rock star smile in this picture. I mean, look at that. How do you not love that guy? Come on, man.
That old
Kinda
shit
like
grin.
little shooting. It's like a little bit of like Axl Rose meets give me somebody. Any Allman Brother, pretty much.
That's a compliment. I'll take that. Absolutely. 100%.
I feel that. So
Michael, I know we're friends on Facebook. Thank you.
absolutely, I love that because Axl's like one of my all-time favorites. I seen you do that music chart of Axl and his voice, and I'm like, wow. And you see the names on it, it's just amazing. So let's say you make your way across the country. Let's say you get it overseas, Germany. Who takes over the permanent jewelry? What happens then? All right. Does he get fired or your spot stays?
Spot stays. I just, just a little busier.
Sure, absolutely. So you got this big festival coming up, and what else? Like, what else you got coming up in the near future where we can come see? Because, like I said, I know you do Bridgeport a lot. I got the links down the bottom so people can find your social media and know where to find you. Give us a little something that I can write down right now to get my butt to and get the wife to because we need more of it, man.
So I will be subbing vocals for Fuzz Mob July 7th at the Dutch Cottage Tavern. And then, I already told you about BSC Band on the 10th this Saturday. And then on the 15th, I'll be a special guest opening for Dead & Co., which is essentially the leftovers of the Grateful Dead.
Wow.
Which I'm really excited for.
That's huge.
I'm
dude.
so stoked for that.
That's huge. That's freaking awesome.
And he has a project of his own in the works as well. So
I do. So I don't want to give out too much information on that because
we want to break ground
once
here.
we put it out, you're going to hear about it. I promise. You're going to hear about it.
And I'm excited for it. Like I said, we would definitely welcome you back and Bridget back. Like I said, I was a fan of hers early on, and now watching her grow, and now watching you come into the picture too, and the two of you grow together. That kind of stuff inspires me. It makes me happy. It gets me excited because you're both artists. And that's what we love here. You're both really making your mark. I guess a question maybe for both of you. Let's say tomorrow you wake up and you're like, nah, I just can't do music anymore. What can you picture yourself doing?
I don't know, man. I can do a lot of stuff.
Right, obviously. That's true. I'm asking the wrong person. I mean, you got about 8 things to pick from. So
I like to stay busy.
Can you imagine, though? Can you imagine life without music? And Bridget, can you imagine really life now without him being in music?
Not really, no. Especially like when we first met, he wasn't really like too keen on playing guitar too often. Now it's gotten to the point where it's really hard to get him to put it down.
That's okay.
So I mean, it's just I feel like it's. I mean, I like having the music around. I like listening to him practice. I like hearing the guitar. I even like it when he's like learning something new and getting frustrated because it's just part of the whole process where it's like, because when he finally gets it, there's that genuine, excitement and.
Absolutely. And it's got to be great to, Right, exactly. There's no time he ever won't do music. You can tell. You can tell it's like in his blood, and that's great. And that's what makes the best musicians. Because, like I said, I brought up that smile. When you're smiling and embracing and enjoying it, we as fans feel it. I know people think that's crazy when I say that, but we can feel it.
Well, that's like with the confidence on stage too. Whenever somebody walks out and they are just owning their voice or their guitar, the drums, whatever they're playing, and they are just giving it all, you can feel it. It gets you excited to be there. It makes you kind of part of the whole process too, and it's just such a gift to be able to sit and listen to all these musicians and all these bands and all these cool venues.
Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of great places, and I always say that PA is kind of like the East Coast gem of music. People are like, New York. I'm like, you don't understand. Spend a month here, do the tour with people who really know the scene, and you will be blown away. I guarantee that.
I agree with that.
I
100%.
appreciate that too, because I think people undersell what goes on here. And like I said, when you look at places and they're like, oh, well, that's a small venue. It doesn't matter.
I mean, let's take a second to think about who all came from the Philly area. I mean, you got Cinderella, you got Brittany Fox, you got Joan Jett, you got John Corabi. You know,
people laugh.
Delco, Philly, Montgomery County, Chester County, like.
I say Hall & Oates, and everybody's like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, there's nothing funny. I say Hall & Oates, and they're like, nah. Well,
Hall & Oates, yeah, exactly.
Massive Hall & Oates.
Sometimes somebody makes fun of a musician in general, and so, or especially one that's actually like put out albums and put out hits. It's like, well, how many number ones have you had?
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. No, well, you know, I think this band sucks. Well, it's like, well, how much money have you made on your album?
Yeah, exactly. And like people say it to me, like, your show, it's like a podcast, it's a video cast. Yeah, big deal. I'm like, well, what's your show? Well, I want to watch your show. Well, I don't have one. Well, then don't knock it, because we're out there doing it, man.
Doing something that you enjoy. But I mean, you are so recognized for what you do, and you know, and you've done so amazing with it. But even if you hadn't, even if it was just your hobby and something that you just enjoyed, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
I agree, and I thank you for that. And like I said, it's moments like this that make it worthwhile. Having both of you here, like I said, watching on social media, being fans of yours, being fans of your music, and Bridget being fans of your creativity and your skills, it's great to just sit here and, because I always said, like, this isn't like interviews. It's like you're sitting around in a room just chatting, shooting shit. Like we're just hanging out, like we're anywhere, just kind of getting to know each other and learning each other and having our fans there. So, I guess I'll put you both on the spot here. Engagement. Are we doing like a rock and roll wedding? Are we doing a tattoo piercing wedding? What are we doing? Any plans? I get excited by this.
most of our friends are mutual. Our friends are musicians. You know, so yeah, we are doing a large, like, it's in a barn. It's the Barn on Bridge in Collegeville. My friend Amanda hooked us up wonderfully with it, but so we have, you know, our initial opening band playing for a little while, which is going to be Pawn Shop Roses.
Oh my God! Wow.
And then we'll be opening the stage, like a huge open mic for all the musicians that are there to just have fun with it.
How about people that weren't invited who just want to kind of sneak on and grab the mic? I can't sing. I guarantee you that. I'm not going to ruin your wedding with that.
No,
that's what mics are for.
Exactly. I mean, if it makes you happy, I absolutely.
It makes you happy. Knock your socks off, man.
I love it. It's funny when you mention karaoke, and I karaoke. I'm not a great singer. People say you like to get up and entertain. It's kind of my thing. I can't really sing them, but I enjoy it. Like you said, like you get up in front of one person, 10 people, 1,000 people. You're performing. I get nervous as hell. I got pregame rituals for karaoke.
Believe it or not, I get that. Now, I get nervous with karaoke. I get really nervous with karaoke. I can't do karaoke. I have no idea why I can't do karaoke, but I can get on a big stage and everything's fine.
Bridget, do you do karaoke? You probably dominated, don't you?
No.
I bet she could. I haven't seen her do it, but I bet she could dominate it. I bet she could. Absolutely, 100%, no doubt in my mind.
There's our good friend Kinsey King, another great PA guy, more like upstate. Mechanicsburg is where we met. He does music, and his girlfriend is in a band. It's actually going to be at Dobbs this weekend, Burden of Guilt. So we just got like a lot of great musicians and people in the music scene that we meet here, and a lot of them are from PA. Mechanicsburg has Love Draft Brewing. They bring out amazing bands. I'm like, damn, people, like PA is where it's at, and we're proud to have you be part of the scene too, Calico, and like everything you do is great, man. And like I said, get out and see them, him, them, whoever band he's playing with. Make sure you do. Links are down the bottom. You can find Calico. I'm very glad you helped me pronounce that, so I didn't call you Calico or nothing like that. Instagram at the Calico Sparx, Facebook at Calico Sparx, and of course the jewelry work. And more Bridget stuff as well. www.chaospiercing.com. Check out the brand new business. The grand opening is Friday. You can watch a rock star do some permanent jewelry. You can watch another rock star do some piercing. I'm psyched for him. I'm psyched for you guys. I get so happy.
Thank you.
And just, I love the smiles. The two of you like feed off each other. You make each other smile. You make me smile. And that's the kind of stuff we love, man. I'm glad that we had this opportunity tonight to do it. Calico, I'm going to let you kind of go. Our half hour's up. But Bridget, if you want to stick around and do a little more show and talk about some topics, etc., we'll do that. I know the rock star's got to be beat, man. Get home, get some rest, and keep that voice rolling. Everybody, make sure you check out the links down below because this guy is making his name around the Philly scene. Calico Sparx, thank you so much, man, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. When the new stuff comes out, EPs, whatever, even if it's more cover and shows, come on back. Man, we'd love to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me on tonight, Jeff. And I was absolutely surprised that my fiance was, of course, the co-host. I'm like surprised, but also not surprised.
Right.
I saw this coming. All right.
I kind of felt. I
saw the post that said surprise co-hosts on Wednesdays, and I'm like, well, who could he possibly get? Like, I have a list of like 4 people. You know what I mean?
I gotta admit, I felt kind of guilty because I'm like messaging behind the scene. I'm like, I just feel bad doing this. Like, hey, is your man going to be around? You going to be able to pull this off? And I'm like, dude, what are you saying? But and she was excited for it. She thought it was a great idea. I love the idea. It popped in my head. I'm like, hey, let's try to make this work. And the fact that you weren't really aware of it made it great. I almost spoiled it a few times. I managed to keep it zipped, but we appreciate it.
Again, my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me on tonight, Jeff. I really appreciate this opportunity. And I guess I'll see you soon.
Yeah, man. You absolutely will. Definitely soon. And again, great luck. Good luck on Friday. Open that place up. And good luck with everything you do in music, dude, because you're a talent and you're worth it.
Thank you very much. All right, I'll see you.
You got to have a good night.
Thank you, man. You too.
I'm going to move him from the screen, let him go home and get some rest. Your smile is just priceless. I love it.
Thank you.
You seem to enjoy what he's doing, and of course he's enjoying what you're doing. Again, we talk about the great times you had, the tough times you had. Tell us kind of emotionally where you're at in life, like the euphoria and how people should keep pursuing others and not be afraid to let people into lives.
Well, I think too, like where it gets really, really difficult is so many people try to build their life around somebody else. And with the two of us, it's like, yeah, we have our common places where we come together, but we have our own goals and our own dreams independent of each other. And, there's no he's been at the studio pretty much nonstop, helping me the past week. And it's like, well, I have a practice. It's like, okay, go, I'm going to stay here and check in jewelry, which you can't do anyway, so he's doing his thing, I'm doing mine. And those moments are important. Those kind of people are important, especially like the type of person that I am. I need to be able to just kind of have my own space and self and sense of self being,
Yeah. And I get that. That's important. And like my wife and I, and for years, like you see me in the beginning of social media where I was a single guy and I said, I don't want nobody. I'm never going to have anybody, blah, 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 blah. And then the right person comes along knocked your socks off. Next thing you know, your life has changed for a bit, but you're still you, and that's the beauty of it. Meeting somebody who lets you be you. She lets me be me. God bless her. I like to let her be her. Go travel and be with family, etc. And I could see you really being yourself in this relationship too, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's also too that, like, I mean, he definitely will try to like meet me in the middle of some stuff because I tend to just be really out there, like I'm doing this now, and my our one friend actually said, he's like, you're not crazy, you're eccentric. I'll take that, but
I like that word. I
yeah,
use that word a lot.
and but like it's like when I had met him, I had a skydive jump scheduled, and the friend that was supposed to go with me ended up not being able to make it. And I'm like, well, I'm going skydiving tomorrow, so do you want to come? And he's like, sure. Terrified of heights. Uh, really, like, would go out of his way to avoid like having to work on rooftops when he was doing HVAC. And still he got on that plane, and they asked him, they got on the edge, ready to jump because it's tandem, so you have
Wow.
somebody else. And we get on the edge, he's getting ready to jump, and the guy's like, he's like, you ready? And he's like, absolutely not. And he's like, get that way. And just pretty much pushed him out of the plane with him. But I mean, that's the thing though, is like he'll indulge my little bit of craziness and kind of go with it and be a part of it. And it's always like some kind of adventure that I'm like, well, we're gonna go zip lining at the zoo over the animal enclosures in the dark because they do that around Halloween. And it's always like I know he doesn't know what's going to come out of my mouth next, and I'm usually surprised by it too. So I mean, like, even like with opening this place, like it was like kind of fell in my lap. And it's like, well, you know what? It needs a lot of work. And basically the time frame that I have between signing the lease and opening, I'll have like 6 days off work. And that's it. And he's like, all right, fine. What can I do? So
you can't do nothing but enjoy the ride and be along for the ride.
Yeah, and it's like, he always makes it work, and he's always there, and he's always supportive, even when I have like a moment where it's like, okay, this is just, but we both tend to like, something's not working right. It's okay, walk away from it, have your minute, come back to it. And that's just so important to have that support.
Good. Right, support's key in the support system. It's why I asked him earlier on with music about his family, and obviously now you're very supportive, and my wife supports this to the hills, even though she's like, oh, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I never see you. But she also knows I love this, and she's under the impression that one day I'm going to end up on like Sirius Satellite, make millions. I don't need to do that. I'd be happy making the same salary making my regular job now. I don't need all that money. I just need this. Real quick, and I want to shout this out real quick because this Saturday, we'll be down at Dobbs checking out our good friends from Burden of Guilt. I got the... I think it's right there. Okay, this is it, June 10th at Dobbs, Burden of Guilt. And the reason why I put this out there is our good friend Rain Sparkles, who is part of the band, is here watching, as she always does on Wednesdays. We love you, Rain. Thank you so much. And Kinsey is her man. So we're having this night of just great relationship talk here on the show as well.
Love that.
And we met Rain and Mechanicsburg, like I said, at Love Draft Brewery, another great mecca of music. It's a shame we can't bring that closer to Philly, but Rain's an amazing drummer. Kinsey's a singer. Separate bands, though. She does Burden of Guilt with Josh. And like I said, it's like their Philly debut at Dobbs this Saturday.
Nice.
If you guys get free, come on down. I know you got the place. I know you're going to be busy, but...
The opening weekend, he done early enough to make it down. I think they're like 3 or 4 or something like that. So
the invite is always out. If not, one way or the other, we'll get up your end, or you come down our end, and
definitely.
We want to bring the world of music closer together. And like I said, I see you doing it a lot. I admire it. I love it, and the realness of these people, like even guys like Bobby and Danny from Foster Child. Like I've been seeing them for years. And you talk to them, they're just regular dudes, and when we had Pawn Shop Roses on, I'm like, you guys are rock stars. And they're like, well, we're in a band. I'm like, you're a rock star. We're in a band. You guys are rock stars. Rain is a rock star. I love it. I just love that world, and I love, like I said, love creativity and art and all that stuff. And it's one of the things, like I said, from the beginning, I admired about you. You're so creative, and you just go get it, and I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I won't even mention you're still one of the greatest tattoo chess pieces ever.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Shannon down at God, I forget where she's at. She's Stampy Goblin on Instagram.
Okay.
But yeah, she's done a few pieces on me, and they're all incredible.
It's amazing, and I always love the work. Like I said, when you did the modeling and the photos, I have zero tattoos, but I'm a gigantic tattoo junkie. I think my wife's got like 8 now, and
Oh, wow.
oh
And
yeah, like
none for you at all.
not yet. It is going to happen though. I might do this first. That might.
You know, I mean, it's like even if you decide one day you don't ever want to do it again, it's such a huge part of your life, you know, and it has been. It's always like marking those milestones. Absolutely, that would be
Yeah,
a piece.
I would be down for that. I'd
Yeah,
definitely be down for that. Yeah, the schedule of musicians are saying, because you know that's hard. Everybody's got a busy schedule. My schedule gets nuts, and I feel like I do nothing, but I'm always busy.
I say that all the time. I'm like, the day I'll be gone, and I'm like, I did absolutely nothing today, but I did not stop moving.
Sure.
And it's like, how?
And somebody had taught me a while back, a person who became pretty popular in podcasting, and he's out in New York. He's actually on Sirius Satellite Radio now. And he said, if you have anything that has your name on it, and there's a day that you don't advertise yourself on social media, that's a day wasted. So I always put a little something up about myself, and you just never know who's going to see it at what time.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And you know, it's always, well, like with my industry as well. You know, I mean, I genuinely care about everything that walks out of my shop, and I genuinely care about every person that I touch and everything that I do. And the one thing that I notice really comes back with that's always the word of mouth. It's like, you know, there's that, you know, she's really sterile or compassionate or went out of her way, or, you know, and it's like even this morning I had a lady reach out, and her daughter's ears have been pierced for a while now. And so
Yeah.
she's been changing out her earrings, and she didn't have the initial starters in that I use anymore, just a regular back. And she reached out because they got pushed on too tight, and the earring back had gone into her daughter's ear
Ooh,
under the
Jesus.
skin, which happens with
Oh,
the butterfly backs if they get pushed on too tight. And she's like, you know, she's like, is there any way that you can see her? And I'm like, Jeff, if you saw this place right now, like there's literally, it's just tore apart. There's boxes everywhere, you know, there's paint cans everywhere. And we're just kind of in this push to, like, I'm literally surrounded by piles of jewelry right now, just trying to sort it. And, you know, I told her, I'm like, look, the place is tore apart, but I will figure out how to set up a station. If you need to come in and see me, I will help you. We'll take care of this. And, you know, and it's like, if she doesn't want to lose the piercings, she doesn't have to. We can fix this. Like, we can put like small hoops in that'll allow it to heal and flow freely, and there's no backs. And, you know, and it's like things like that. Like, if it was my kid and, you know, something like that happened, and this is the person I trusted to do it, you know,
yeah,
it's like, you know, I would want that person to be like, hey, yeah, I can help you, you know. And it's like, if people trust you that much, you really need to respect that, you know.
absolutely. Yeah, because there is competition in any field of any type. But it's funny when you said like one of the things you want people to know you for is being sterile, and I find I get it, but it also sounds pretty funny. That
I know.
girl sterile.
I know. But that's a funny thing though too, is like I have like different people will tell me, you know, like, oh well, there's this artist at this shop or whatever, and I never like, I never see it as competition. And it's not because that, oh, I have no competition. No, it's you know, even if they've only been doing it a year and their work's not super solid yet, it's like we all start somewhere. You know, and I've been there, and I've had clients that I saw 14 years ago come back to me for another piercing, and I'm looking at the piercing that I did, you know, 14, 15 years ago, and I'm like, I probably wouldn't do it quite that way now. But, you know, and it's like, you know, I love, there's plenty of work for everybody. always. You know, it's just like the music industry. There's always another venue. There's always, but it's like I love seeing somebody new come on the scene and like really pursuing it with a passion because there's not a lot of piercers left. And, COVID especially kind of took a lot of out of the industry. And, just having like, it's like, you're not my competition. If you're just starting out, like, good for you, go for it. Cause I've been there too,
Yeah, and like I said, to watch you grow, and the amazing thing is like all the work you do, you seem to always be busy, but not to put you on the spot. From the time I met you, you look like you haven't aged a day in all these years.
Yeah. It's funny. I get that a lot, and I'm like, I think I'm just it's aging like a vampire or something. It's probably because I don't go out in the sunlight a whole lot because of the tattoos.
Especially now, you can't go out now. You'll age years.
I know. It's like it's literally like pitch black here now.
Yeah.
But because it's so dark with the fog on top of it, or the smoke on top.
And I appreciate it too. Like I said, I mean, your opening is coming up, and when I asked you, you said, "Yeah, I'll be at the shop, so I can make time and do it." And I do appreciate that because I know again how busy and the pressure you have coming on.
I get to a point too where I'm like done for the day, and so it's kind of like a nice break to walk away from it. But like it worked out perfect as far as being a surprise because I'm like, well, I'm here, and he's there, so
you're hanging out with the other man. That was funny. Like I said, just like given, because how like, and you said people could be really crude on Messenger, and just the thought of like, who's messaging you? Well, I can't tell you; it's a secret.
Right.
Like, how bad does that come off? But I mean, nothing but the utmost respect always for you, and definitely for him now too to be part of your life. I just love it, and I'm happy for you, and we celebrate that kind of stuff here. And, my man JD Wolf has said, always go above and beyond. Yes, we have to. Like I said, I'm sure there's times you want to think, maybe I can't do that. But somebody that trusts you and kind of asks even for like the deep favors and something like that, like, yeah, you got to kind of be there.
Yeah. And I mean, also too, like I feel like what's the saying? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of part of it. It's like, it's really not work to me. Like, yeah, I make money doing something I love, which is great. But it's like, I absolutely love interacting with new people. I love having connection with new people. I meet really, really interesting people because you never know who's going to walk through the door.
Oh, sure.
Because, I mean, there's always somebody getting their ears pierced or getting kids' ears pierced or whatever. And like, you'll have like, one person will come in and they'll be like a newscaster, and then I've had another client come in and she plays Elsa at Disney. Like you just never know.
That's very cool because you also don't know who wants their rectum pierced.
Exactly. It could, it's a crapshoot. You wake up every morning not knowing what's going on. It keeps it interesting.
How often do you see? And again, I know nothing about the etiquette, so I don't know if females prefer it. Nipple piercing.
So that's probably, I see more of those with females than with men. But I mean, it's funny. Early spring, everything that has a season. Early spring, we get nipples, noses, and belly buttons. So those are my early spring piercings. I don't know why.
Now, do females prefer a female to do a nipple piercing? It'd be, for me as a guy, even knowing how to pierce, I'd be nervous. That's a tough spot.
So it depends, I feel like some of them just, don't care. There's no bias, but like, I mean, obviously sometimes, and this is not all encompassing. This is not, all male piercers, but I've seen some women come in where, especially with female genital piercings, where and that the guy didn't know the anatomy basically, and they missed.
No. Oh my God.
And it's like, they're like, well, I don't think it's quite right. And it's like, yeah, no, it's like a half inch off from where it actually should go.
Oh my God.
And it's like, so they're like, well, so I wanted to go to a female because,
Yeah. Oh my God. That's like, and I don't know why I don't have female anatomy, but I tuckered my own anatomy in like big time there because I could just imagine a miss. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, and I mean, especially in an area that's a little more sensitive, like having to get it re-pierced is not.
Oh. You know what? Both times that I've had you on, you've made me cringe, but I love it. I actually do. I get a kick out of it
Yeah,
because, again, it makes me marvel what you do, and God, it just, I, um. Now, do you or have you ever pierced yourself?
I do. I do. So
Okay.
I have trust issues. So I feel more comfortable piercing myself unless it's a piercing I really can't do. So, I've done both the ones on my mouth. I've done a couple on my ears. I've done my own nipples, that type of thing. And um, yeah, it's definitely different. Everything's backwards in the mirror, but you make it work. I feel like having piercings yourself though too when you're working on other clients, it gives you a better understanding of how they feel and how they feel, and
Yeah.
you know
A little cringe, a good cringe.
a little bit.
Um, have you ever have you ever had to talk somebody out of something, like something that seemed like a bad idea for a certain person?
I mean, sometimes people come in and they just don't have the anatomy that they need for the piercing, and I'll tell them like, look, if you really want it, I can do it, but I can tell you why it's not going to work. And
Yeah.
it's like, because I'm not, like I said, I love what I do, and yeah, I get paid for it, but I'm not in it for the money. I want to make sure that everything fits the person's anatomy and is going to heal well and it's going to last long term. If they don't have enough space and I feel like it's going to reject or migrate to the surface or possibly cause damage or even just not sit right,
Yeah.
I'll be like, look, I can do this on your inner ear, like the Dave piercings or the rooks or whatever. It's like, but you're not going to see it. It's like,
Yeah, that makes no sense.
yeah, and it's like I feel like most people appreciate that. I've had couple times I really upset somebody, where they were disappointed, but
But it's better than,
leaving a scar. Yeah, I'd rather
right.
have you disappointed than scarred for life. Yes.
And a lot of people like the honesty, like that's not for
Yeah.
you, etc. So I got to put this in real quick. Our awesome audience here always gives in great drop ins. So, of course, Rain says from genital piercing onto our sponsor, Moist. And of course, I got to give our guys at Moist a little shout out. It is the Father's Day is coming,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. So, why not treat dad with his beautiful beard to products from the Moist Collective? It is an awesome line of beard wash, beard oil, and beard butter to style your beard. Great smells made locally right here in Bucks County. Right now, www.rumoist.com is having a special. Use the code YOSHOW20 to get 20% off your entire order. And they ship anywhere throughout the United States. And if you purchase $35 or more, free shipping. Again, www.rumoist.com. Treat dad this year to some great beard products. Don't go for the tie. Dad's got a million ties, but how often can he get his beard nice and moist? And that's a great lead in from genital piercing to moist. I got mine here. I use it. I
Yeah.
love it. What's that?
I said from genital piercing to moist beards.
Right. Man, there's a movie in there somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. But I have to ask, so what's beard butter? I don't know that I've ever heard that term.
So butter is now this one's empty. This is one I use to death, and I'll give you kind of an example if I can get a little bit out of here. So butter is kind of like a white cream, if you will. And and people are watching like, what the hell did he just do? But it's like a cream, and you rub it, and it'll turn kind of like an oily, and you rub it in. You could actually style it with it. So it's kind of like a styling gel, if you will, for beards.
Yeah. Does it
Um,
moisturize too? Like a conditioner?
yeah, you can actually see my hand is actually like glistening from it out. It becomes kind of like an oily
It
finish.
looks moist.
Right, it does look moist, and it absolutely does. And through the day at work, I'll sit there and go like this, and I'm like, that actually is pretty moist. But yeah, so the butter's kind of like a styling gel. The smell is just, even at the bottom of the container, the smell is just so great. And like I said, my buddy Jim Hutton makes it. He also makes like car waxes and all that, and he got into this, and it's really awesome. I love pushing it. And if you don't buy it, I'm upset. If you buy it, I love you for it. Yeah, well, I know white cream, rub it. Yeah, I'm a mess, right? Am I disgusting or what? I'm disgusting. Trying to be respectful to Bridget. She hears this stuff all day long. Rain is definitely one of our evil audience members, and I love it because she's a blast in person. But
That's
yeah,
my
I
daughter's middle name is Rain.
Is it really?
As your Scarlet Rain. I do it after the Slayer song, Raining Blood.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah, Scarlet Rain. Anyway.
So you do know that yesterday was National Slayer Day, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes. You're like the first person that knew that. Everyone's like, it was? Do you celebrate? Do you put up the Slayer tree? Like, what do you do for Slayer Day?
I don't know. I don't know.
I did nothing. I announced it on the show, and Jules like, all right, Slayer.
Yeah.
Kind of went away. I even got my Slayer Funko Pops up here somewhere. I don't know. I lose track of where these things all are. I look like an idiot turning around,
I mean,
and I
feel like
can't find
you
them.
collection. I wouldn't be able to keep track of them either.
There's actually an app that you scan the barcode, and it goes right to the app. It
Oh, nice.
carries your whole collection. I've got ones I forget about. But it's a neat little backdrop, like yours. Like I love the backdrop. I love the fact that you set that up there. It looks amazing.
Yeah, that's my main. So there was this the building's a little older. There's this amazing counter. The counter, it's huge. It was built in the '80s, and so this big back wall, just painted it black and put the big logo in the middle.
I love it. I really do. For some unknown reason, I'm afraid to do this. So I got to look up what holiday is on April 18th. Do you know what holiday is on April 18th?
No.
I'm scared, but let's do it. You're really getting acclimated here tonight. April 18th, holiday. Animal Cracker's birthday? That can't be right. It's got to be something more deep rooted than that. Celebrate Teen Jim Jeffries Day. Celebrate teen literature. I'm doing it and I don't see it. It might be for the better. I think I might better quit while I'm way ahead here because I don't really see anything. You can tell me in person when I see you guys on Saturday. Did you find it?
I'm looking too.
Yeah, I didn't really find anything. Or maybe I'm not using enough devious words for it to actually come up. I don't know.
I don't see anything either.
Maybe the 19th is Garlic Day.
Okay.
That's not bad. I like that.
I mean, I'm seeing like it's Adult Autism Awareness Day.
Yeah, the fact that Rain said don't do it's bad because she's pretty open-minded, so I'm worried about it. I know, I didn't see it. Maybe it's for the better I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
well, no, I'm invested now, so you have to let me know.
Oh, I'm going to find it, or Rain's going to let me know, and I'm definitely going to share it with you.
Yeah, because like you can't leave me hanging on that one.
I know, I'm leaving myself hanging, too. I feel like a horrible host here. I had not all the information. Ay. So, again, I want to share the website if you want to get to know more about Bridget's brand new business venture. I can elaborate. It is www.chaospiercing.com, and Chaos has kind of become your nickname. How did you get that name? Because, well, obviously I kind of know, but share with you if you will.
Well, it was funny because like you said, I started in the industry like it was extremely male dominated. You really didn't see a lot of women working in tattoo shops, and so it's like one of those. You kind of go through, not so much anymore, but back then you used to kind of go through like a hazing and this and kind of prove yourself. But it became a joke that every time that I was in the studio, it was chaos. So, yeah, and it kind of stuck. But I kind of gotten away from like really like marrying my name. To, people get weird, like you said. Yeah, people get creepy. So it's like I'd rather be chaos when I'm working, when I'm with clients in the studio, that type of thing, because it's kind of like a safer pseudonym for me,
Yeah, and it was kind of funny because Rain actually started using her regular name. She would go by Rain Sparkles. Now she also puts out a regular name. And every time like I do the show with Jules, she's like, you know what, back in the beginning I should use the fake name because the weirdos. I'm like, well, unfortunately it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of female tattoo artists that I know, use a different name whenever they're working to promote their businesses on their websites. It's a weird industry to be in because you get every end of every extreme. You get a lot of amazing, wonderful people, great stories, great energy, but then you get this strange people that kind of almost like groupies, for lack of a better word.
Okay, I can see that.
But, and I've been doing this for so long and I've been so around the industry and so many publications, and everybody kind of knows me, that it's really hard for me to go somewhere and not be recognized.
I got you. And right, and that's a good thing in a way because that means that you have the status in what you
Yeah,
do.
it's one of those. I can't go sit down at a bar. Like, like we checked out a new bar, local to the new shop last night, and we sat down, and the bartender introduced herself, and I mentioned it was her first time in there, and I'm like, she's like, "Oh, what brings you in?" I'm like, "Well, we're opening, right around the corner." And as soon as I told her what the shop name was, she's like, "Oh my God, I wanted to come to you for a while," and it's like, and that's great, and that's wonderful, and it's amazing. But I'm also like a really private person too, so I like just disappearing,
I
which is
hear you.
cool, you know.
I'm the opposite. I just wish somebody everywhere would kind of recognize my face. But then again, it gets to be bad, so I get that. But it's different for men because you get a lot less. Here's my boob pics than here's my male genitalia pics. So you know.
I'm sure. But like, I mean, it's
Ah,
weird. Sometimes it's people that I know. Oh, what it? Yeah, I need to know.
here it comes. Are you serious? That's what April 18th is? Oy, 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 oy. It's National Anal Sex Day. Thank you. You know, I got to tell you one thing. We talk about relationships and people let each other be each other. Kinsey and Rain come on and watch together, and you always know something just great is going to come out of it. That's. I should have expected that. I definitely should have. But hey, I'm not afraid of it. It's life. Um, but again, like, I was curious tonight at what you were going to use for your name because you get to put your name in, and I laid my whole name out there like a knucklehead. And I wondered, and I
Yeah,
like what you did there. You used your real name.
the name. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Your
Well,
your
it's not one of those things that you pick and choose. Like this is to me, this is a realness, and this is amongst friends, and this
yeah.
is, like you said, it's just like we're friends sitting talking, and especially with an interview when you're trying to, or co-hosting, or whatever you're doing when you're trying to have a real moment with people. It's a lot easier if you're just who you are.
I agree. I mean, this is pretty much who I am. This is me. It's never like my wife's like, sometimes you come home cranky and then you go on the show and you get the big smile on your face. I mean, that's pretty much me, though. I'm usually a pretty happy person. I like to. You compliment each other. This is me. I like to have fun and be silly and talk about music and talk about weird topics and talk about National Anal Sex Day and all that great stuff, and have fun and sometimes have a beer, just kind of unwind. But it's a nice change of pace from being the guy at the car place 5 days a week and
Yeah,
40
yeah.
some hours a week. So this is fun to me. Um, we're going to cut a little short tonight. I hope you don't mind because it's an opening day tomorrow for me. But I do want to, again, share two things. I do want to share this Saturday at Dobbs. Don't forget to check out the awesome band, Burden of Guilt, with Rain and Josh. They go on at 10:30. It says 10:30. Rain said 10. Get there early because there's a couple other bands. So get there around 8 o'clock if you can, people. Check it out. It's their first appearance in Philadelphia. Burden of Guilt, a terrific band. We love them. And they're going to be at Dobbs this weekend. You can also check out tonight's guest, Calico Sparx. You can do a double header. Do this too, June 10th. Right.
Just shoot right down there.
There you go. Do a double header because that event is 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Morton's 125th anniversary celebration, Saturday, June 10th. And it's going to be, Jesus, man, it starts at 8 a.m. And there's music and fun food, kids' activities, antique cars, a beer garden. So get a couple drinks down there. Head on over to Dobbs. You can make an absolute complete full day of it. You can see Calico. Maybe you can check. I'm probably not going to catch you there, Ray. You got the shop now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's opening weekend for me. I'm actually really sad that I can't make that show because the guys that he's playing with too, they're just amazing group of people. But yeah, I mean, it was like I said, that was kind of a really kind of last minute filling gig that came up. So I'm like, can't make it, but I'm sure I'll find videos. Everybody always videotapes things, posts them online.
Yeah, true.
I've
You
seen-
do it. You do a great job
Yeah.
of it. And
Yeah,
that's-
I love it when it comes up in my memories like a year later, you know, and it's
yeah,
like, oh, that was such a good show.
right? You see how far you've come. Again, www.chaospiercing.com. Do not miss it. You can check out the beginning. He kind of does solo stuff, and he'll join in with other bands. He's actually working on original music. He says he's got tons of it, like 4 EPs worth. And trust me, you'll be seeing that face here again. We're definitely excited for that. Find on social media. His spots are down here, so you can check out the Chaos Piercing website, all that good stuff. And Bridget, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. And
Thank you for having me. We finally made it work.
right, exactly. After all this time, it's worth it, though. The patience is worth it. And I adore you. I have for the longest time. I just think you're just an amazing human being, and you're always striving and out there making it work. And you've always been kind to me. We've always had like very nice, sometimes quick, but very nice conversations, and I appreciate it. And then it leads to stuff like this, which is absolutely great. So we're gonna pack it in. I'm gonna load up the music. Of course, it is St. Ricketts, The Catalyst. You know what? Let's do this again. Let's go out with Burden of Guilt again tonight. How about that instead? No offense to St. Ricketts, but let's play Best Friend again by Burden of Guilt and give them a little shout out as they prepare for this weekend. Once again, folks, check us out Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. live here on the Yo Show. A massive thanks to Calico Sparx for coming on this evening, and even huger thanks to Bridget Gatcha of the Chaos Piercing Company for being my very special guest host tonight. Love you very much for it. Love you both. Great luck with all your future endeavors. We're rooting for you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great night. And those of you out there, stick around for a few minutes for a little Burden of Guilt. This is Best Friend here on the Yo Show. I love this song.
I used to love singing songs that Elvis wrote, that he wrote. And I used to love writing you love songs about how I long for your love, never understanding what I did, never understanding why I wasn't good enough. Why wasn't I good enough? Why wasn't I? When you are asleep, it's the only time I feel at peace. Now the demon, she sleeps and I lie awake, looking at your face, hoping, praying you'll never wake again. Hoping, praying you'll never wake again. I thought you were my best friend. Too long, suicide became a thing, and I used to take late night walks at night just to contemplate the last words of my life. And I believe all the lies you ever said. Now you do is live inside my head. You broke me, you defeated me, now you beat me all day. When you are asleep, you were my best friend. Thought you were my best friend. Thought you were my best friend. Thought you were my best